Hello, right, well, as you can see, I'm already out in space. No starting in the docking station for this video. And I'm out here because I wanted to take a look at something that has supposedly changed. This is version 1.4, I'm not in any of the betas. And the thing that supposedly changed that I wanted to take a look at is that. Now, it certainly has changed compared to how it looked when it was first put in. If you are a regular viewer of my videos, you will know that I visited Pluto when I did a tour of the solar system ages ago. However, despite changing it, it's still not all that impressive. In fact, let's drop out of the Super Cruise. So now we can get a look at it without risking running into the fucking thing. Now, the biggest problem I have, and indeed a lot of people have, is this whole light grey area here, which, as you can see, is completely featureless. And when the changes were introduced so that Pluto looked a little bit more like the images that were sent back from the New Horizons probe, a lot of people were saying, you know, this is supposed to be realistic. You know, you have at least half the planet is completely barren and completely featureless. And Frontier Developments did actually come up with a reply to this. And the reply was nothing short of insulting, because they assumed that people would be stupid enough to believe what they said, which was that in the time this game is set, which is 1,000 years from now, this is what Pluto could look like. Now, you do not need to be an expert in exogeology to know that, you know, Pluto, which currently has a huge amount of impact craters and lots of like canyons and stuff all over it. In terms of you know, geological time frames, 1,000 years is the blink of an eye. And this person who spoke for Frontier Developments thinks that people will believe that in, say, in a geological blink of an eye, half the planet's features will completely disappear. That's moronic. Now, of course, what would be handy is if we had a picture of Pluto that was taken by New Horizons to compare it to. So let's bring one up. There it is. As you can see, okay, they haven't got the colours right. This is an enhanced colour picture, and this red area here, it's not as red as that, really. I mean, it is quite red. In fact, it's more red than Mars. When you see pictures like this, you would think that Pluto has more right to be called the red planet than Mars does. But you can see that this area here, which is part of what became known as the Pluto heart, okay, that is relatively smooth, relatively flat. But that is by no means half the planet. So all of these features here, well, let's give them the benefit of the doubt then and say that the halfway point cuts across here. So they are saying that all of this area here in the space of 1,000 years will disappear and become completely, you know, nigh on billiard ball smooth. Absolute bollocks. Now here we have a picture of Charon. This picture, I mean, the two objects are nowhere near this close to each other, so don't think that, you know, this was taken from one picture. They just put Charon into this image to show the comparative sizes. So this is Pluto and Charon from the same distance away from the New Horizons probe. Now you can see that while Charon is, you know, certainly smaller than Pluto, its relative size to Pluto makes it by far the largest moon relative to its planet in the solar system. And again, the colours have been enhanced a bit. Charon is noticeably darker than Pluto, but it's not as dark as this image would make you show, or make you think. But again, it has a red area here. Some, and this is a theory that I quite agree with, but some people think that this, the red polar area here, has come from the same area that is here on Pluto itself. Indeed, this impact crater, where you can still see the remains of whatever object it was that made the crater, I think this is what led to all this red area here. So it must have come along from like this direction, smashed here, sent all this red you know, sub-Earth all over the surface of Pluto here, some of it falling back here, but of course the impact from it would have sent tons of it up into Pluto's atmosphere, because it does have one, and some of it settled on Charon there. And I find that quite a compelling argument. I think that's spot on. But you can see Charon is quite yeah, has an awful lot of features, including this immense canyon that runs almost the entire diameter, completely around the equator. And this much like cracking would suggest that Charon is geologically active, probably as a result of internal heat. So it must have a molten, could be a molten mantle, could be a molten core. And the idea that it does have a molten interior is further strengthened by the fact that in the northern hemisphere in particular, there aren't that many impact craters. There are plenty in the southern hemisphere and around this area here, including this enormous area that's been gouged out here. But up around the north, there aren't anywhere near as many, which suggests that the surface of Charon in the northern hemisphere is a lot younger than the surface of the southern hemisphere. So Charon could well be geologically active, or at least was at some point. So if that's what Charon looks like, let's see how it looks in the game. Pluto, say they have changed it, but it looks fuck all like it should. Let's see what they did with Charon. I have a feeling it's going to be they didn't do fuck all to it.
Drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Now the servers have been ridiculously fucking laggy again. I think a lot of people who were testing Horizons, now that the release date has been made public, it's coming out on December 15th, a lot of them are now taking a look at Elite Dangerous to try and, you know, get their stats up so that they can get some of the better ships. we've also now been given a very good indication as to what ranks we now need for the two big bastard things. Right, let's drop out of Super Cruise again. So we're now almost certainly it is Rear Admiral is the rank that you need to get the Federal Corvette, and Duke for the Imperial Cutter, which suits me fine. I'm way past Duke. Well, I say way past, I'm the next rank up from there. So I will be able to get the Cutter no problem. I can't get the Corvette because I'm still only post commander. So I need to get the post captain and then Rear Admiral before I can get that. But I'm not that fussed because I have no interest in getting the Corvette. So anyway, Charon still looks very much like it did prior to the supposed changes made to Pluto's appearance, so they haven't changed Charon at all. It's still very bland and it's still made to look very generic. There's nothing there to suggest, you know, it certainly hasn't had any attempt made to make it look like it does, which is hardly surprising because the moons of Saturn, none of them really, they didn't exactly try to make any of them particularly accurate. Titan sort of, but that's it. Titan is the only moon of Saturn that you can't land on in Horizons. And the moon around Neptune, which is Triton, that requires a permit. So no landing there either, at least not to begin with. With the moons of Jupiter, Io you can't land on, no surprise, but Callisto, Ganymede and Europa can be. Obviously Europa can be, I mean that was shown in a fucking video for fuck's sake. You can't land on the moon. I don't know why you can't, because in this game, perhaps, fuck it, let's bring up the system map and show you. In this game it shows that the moon has no atmosphere, which is in fact not true. It does have an atmosphere. It's a very thin one, but it does have one. So I suspect that the reason it's you can't land on there is because it's going to be populated, and therefore you know, they haven't got the whole business sorted out of what a population or populated area is going to look like. So at the moment you can't land there. The other thing is that in its description here, it describes the moon as a rocky world with little or no surface metal content, and yet in its composition it describes it as 20% metal. Well, there are metal rich, high metal content planets which have less than 20% metal when you discover them. Which begs the question, you know, what the fucking hell does a metal rich planet look like? Is it just some fucking giant ball bearing that's orbiting a planet? Because for a planet to have 20% metal and then be described as little or no surface metal content is ridiculous. Now I'm sure some people will say, well, it's because the metal isn't on the surface, but in this game you should be able to go beneath the surface and find it. Now, okay, so Life School is checking out my private group. He's not going to find much there, no one's logged into it. Anyway, while I'm out here, what I am hoping to be able to do is find the Voyager probe, because of course it doesn't appear on the map. It doesn't appear in the navigations tab, and it doesn't appear if you
Frameshift
go into
drive
Super Cruise
charging.
again. It doesn't appear if you use the
1.
Discovery
Engage.
scanner, which I'll use now to show you. This is where I find out they've changed it, and it does. Ah, there you go. So I've got no idea where it is. I would like to see it purely for you know, curiosity's sake. There's no real benefit from going there, but yeah, finding it is quite the thankless task. I don't think it's in the direction of either of the Magellanic clouds there. No sign of the fucking thing. And I can't be asked to keep looking. It's going to be... I thought that might have been it. So I'm just going to dock somewhere. Where am I going to dock? There's the nearest fucking Titan City. Right, okay, we'll go there then. Right, well there you go. So that's just a quick video to show you the new look Pluto. And yes, okay, they've improved it a bit, but it's still fuck all like as good as it should be. Their quest for realism seems to be more a case of a quest for realism if we know how to do it. If we can't do it, then bollocks, we won't really try too hard. I'm not going to Uranus. Now, Uranus is one of the few planets in the solar system here that they've got absolutely spot on. Well, actually, I'll tell a lie, it's not quite spot on. They've made it a much darker blue than it actually is. It's more a sort of turquoisey colour. But other than that, they've got it pretty much right. Largely because there is next to fuck all in the way of surface features on there. So it would have been more difficult for them to get it wrong than it would have been for them to get it right. This is Frontier Developments we're talking about, and fucking it up is not exactly something that they will have a hard time doing. Right, okay, well, that brings this short old vid to an end. So this is Commander Lucosa saying, go away.